Station. Arriving at Chester Station.
Ta-da! Happy birthday, Star.
Thank you. That is someone who's very special to me because he's an amazing musician and songwriter, and he also happens to be my brother, Mark Simos. So thank you. And he'll be singing something for us a little bit later. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to our solstice and birthday celebration. We've got some really wonderful, amazing people here to share some of the incredible things that they're doing. And we should just jump in. I can begin by saying I'm speaking to you tonight from Yalamu, from a place otherwise known as San Francisco, which is the traditional lands of the Ramaytush land that has a tremendous heritage here of art, of dance, of culture, of caring for the earth and caring for the community. And I invite you to take a moment and honor the indigenous people of the land that you're on. If you know who they are, you can say hello in the chat and maybe put their name in the chat. We know that there's a heritage of colonization and exploitation here, both of the land and also of the stolen peoples who've been brought to this land from other places to do the heavy work, to build the railroads here in the West Coast, for so many other purposes. But again, there's always a heritage of resistance, of culture, of all the different ways that people experience life and sing about it and create about it. And that is what really actually makes America great, or any place great, is not exclusivity, but really embracing diversity and embracing the value of all of those different cultures and peoples. And it's my hope that tonight this work and the work that we do here in Earth Activist Training will be in alignment with the work that's been done for tens of thousands of years here and all over the world to tend the environment and to care for the community. So we're going to take a breath and we're going to ground ourselves and create a magic circle. So just take a breath and put your feet on the ground. As you breathe in and breathe out, you might imagine yourself like a tree. And you might think of a favorite tree that you have that comes from your part of the world. Imagine your roots pushing down into the earth. Imagine them as magic roots that can push down through all the layers of rock and soil and all the waters that are held in the earth. all the way down through the bedrock, down to that heart of fire at the very core of the earth. And imagine that as fierce, pure, living energy. Take a breath and just release into it. Anything you want to let go of, anything that might keep you from being fully present. And then as you breathe, draw a little spark of that fire up. Some of that pure living earth energy up and up and up through all those layers of earth and rock and water and soil, up into your feet and legs, up into the base of your spine and your belly, up your spine, into your heart. Maybe take a moment and just bathe your heart a little bit, because this is kind of a hard time for people who have open hearts, and they may need a little extra. And then as you breathe, breathe it up and out the top of your head. Like branches, feel them reach up to the sky. Imagine they can sweep all the way up there, touch the sky, and then come all the way back down like a fountain that surrounds you. And then breathing deep, breathe in some of that sky energy. You know, where I am, there's still some sun, but where you are, might already be night and moonlight or starlight. But breathe it in, soak it in, take it in. Let yourself be fed by it, just like a tree feeds on light and sunlight. And breathe it in, breathe it down, all the way down through your heart, your hands, and your belly, down through your legs and feet into the earth. And just feel that energy coming up and through you, and down and through you, and how you are kind of a vessel for both. And then maybe put a little circle of light around yourself. And blessed be. And Charles Williams is here, another very special person. Yes, Charles is our co-director of Earth Activist Training. He keeps all the pieces together that I tend to drop, and he's a brilliant teacher and permaculturalist and designer, and also a really nice guy. And Charles, maybe you'll create our circle and call the elements for us.
Yeah. Well, welcome everybody. Happy birthday, Star.
Thank you.
And let's create a circle. Invite us all to make a little circle with our hands in front of ourselves that you can kind of see in front of you. Maybe look through it and see our screen and the people here. And with a breath, I invite you to take a deep breath and then see if you can start to breathe that circle larger, so that fills our screen and our space. And eventually, like a bubble, it's going to like fill our room and our walls and maybe push out a little bit. And see if we can find the edge of somebody else in this group. We have 100+ people here. I'm sure there's another bubble nearby that we can bump into and connect and create a container where we're all together. So welcome to our circle here. And into that, I'd like to invite air. The birds have been returning, the bird song. I want to invite air, the new beginnings. And though it's been 75 years, Star, there's a new beginning. There's a new beginning here. I want to invite in new beginnings and the breath of a new day and the dawning, the return of the birds and the song, and the exchange that we have when we come together, the speaking and the listening. I'd like to invite in fire, not the massive cake that'll be aflame at some point with all of its candles, the fire of truth and inspiration, the fire of insight and understanding. And invite the fire in to this celebration, the fire of just joy and excitement. We are being here to celebrate with you, Steph. And water, can we invite some water in? The deep emotions, the love and the care that I know you have, Star, for the world around, and how many of us bring our love and our care to you today. So I invite our emotions in the watery world. May it come and join us. And earth, our physical realm, our bodies, the plants, the flowers, the trees, the blooming world. Invite the blooming world to join us. All the physical aspects. And maybe there's some good celebrating, some physical celebrating that you're going to be doing with desserts and treats and party favors. And maybe celebrate together in the physical world. So with air and fire, water, earth, I'm going to say welcome to the elements and welcome to spirit. Center, our place of connection and engagement and exchange. And to the elements, I say welcome. To you all, I say welcome. Welcome to our circle tonight.
Welcome. And as part of invoking spirit, I've asked Mark, my brother Mark, if he would sing his permaculture song that he wrote for us. Because to me it represents what we mean by spirit.
Can you all hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, the magic of technology. Well, thank you for inviting me into the circle. I've been a traveler in stars circles, or I should say spirals, for many decades. I trail her by about 5 years, so my 70th birthday is coming up in about a month. But I want to send this song out as a gift to her and to the whole community. It's a song I wrote for the end credits of the documentary film The Growing Edge that Star and Donna Reed did a number of years ago. And so the song was on that soundtrack, but it was never released as an actual separate song until today. Mm-hmm. So my real birthday present to Star is that this is my very first release on Bandcamp.
All right.
And I think Charles said he would throw the link to the SoundCloud track into the chat. And so if any of you want to download the track or buy the track, all of the proceeds will go to Earth Activist Training Scholarship Fund. I put the information about the training there in the Bandcamp description. So, we'll creak this out as best I can. It's called Everything. Everything's connected to everything. Everything's connected to everything. Darling, everything's connected to everything. Everything else. Every plant in the garden has more than one purpose. It exists for itself, yet it longs to be of service. And every gift is offered to all at once, and every need is satisfied by several plans. All life is entangled in a beautiful loop. Everything is nutrient, and everything is poop. Sing it all. Oh, everything's connected to everything. Everything's connected to everything. Darling, choir. Everything, everything, everything. Everything, everything, everything. Everything's connected to everything, everything else. Oh, everything, everything, everything. Everything, everything, everything. Darling, everything, 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 everything else.
Thank you, Mark. It's such a beautiful song, and it so encompasses what permaculture is really about, is that interconnectedness of everything. Also, I know how very proud you were that you managed to get a rhyme for the word poop in that song.
Yes, and when there was a great vocalist, Nikki Egan, who sang it on and she's a great R&B vocalist. And when we got to that line, she sang the word poop a little tentatively. And I said, no, you have to kind of sing it the way Aretha would sing it. So, yes, I have to say that in all of my many songs, it's ironic to me that perhaps one of the most positive song lines I've ever written is everything is nutrient and everything is poop, because you might say everything is shit, but in a very positive way.
That's
So,
true.
so yes, well, that idea certainly came from you and from
Huh.
the permaculture principles. So it was really nice to try to put that in a song. So
Well,
thank you
thank
for
you.
letting me share it.
Thank you so much. I've got another special person here, and that is Basir. Basir, I know you're here somewhere.
Yes, I'm
Um,
here.
yeah. Um, Earth Activist Training has worked to help support some of our fellow permaculturalists from Afghanistan, that Rosemary Morrow, who you'll hear from in a bit, trained and taught, and Basir is one of them, and he wrote me this beautiful poem, so I've asked him to share it tonight.
Thank you so much. So, best evening, best afternoon, best morning. So one of my guilty pleasures is to write poems, especially for people who are dear to my heart. So I'm just inviting everyone in this circle space. If you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes and just sit with the flow of the words and how words are dancing together for a few minutes as you're listening to my voice. And if any word, image, picture, sound, anything from around you or from the nature, Mother Earth, would come to you, welcome that and just sit with that as I am reading through the poem. Daughter of Mother Earth, not because another year has passed, but because another year of service has been given back to the earth. You taught us that spirituality is not an escape from the world, but a return to it. That prayer is not only spoken in circles of candles, but written in gardens, compost piles, community kitchens, protest lines, seedlings, and calloused hands. You walked a path few dare to follow, from speaking within the unseen to kneeling in the soil, from visions of the sacred to the labor of healing what is spoken. While others search for miracles in distant heavens, you found miracles in microbes, mushrooms, roots, rainwater, and the mysterious intelligence of living soil. You reminded us that the goddess is not far away. She is the earth beneath our feet, the rivers struggling to breathe, the forest asking to be remembered, the compost transforming death into life. You showed us that activism without love becomes brittle, and spirituality without action becomes hollow. You planted a different vision, a world where ritual and reassurance dance together, where justice grows beside tomatoes, where children learn ecology with their hands in the dirt, and where communities remember how to care for one another. When the storms came, you did not run away. You walked into the ruins of disasters, into the aftermath of Katrina, into the wounds of the world, carrying seeds, knowledge, and hope. Not hope as wishful thinking, but hope with muddy boots, hope that builds, hope that plants, hope that organizes, hope that stays. Today, we honor not only the writer, the witch, the teacher, the activist, or the visionary. We honor the daughter of Mother Earth, who listened closely enough to hear the ancient instruction: plant trees, build soil, grow food, heal life. May the forest you inspired continue to stretch towards the sun. May the gardens you helped create feed generations you may never meet. May the movements you nurtured keep growing wild and courageous. May the earth herself whisper gratitude into the wind. And may your life continue to remind us that the deepest magic has always been this: to love the world so fiercely that help it heal. Happy birthday, Starhawk. May your roots grow deeper, your vision grow clearer, and your healing hands continue transforming waste into fertility, despair into action, and love into living earth. With gratitude for all that you have given to Mother Earth and to all her children. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Basir. It's so beautiful, and it really touches me because I think it sort of speaks for how I like to imagine I am, right? Thank you so much for that. So, this is also summer solstice, and we've invoked the elements and we've invoked spirit, but there's another special person here, and that is my wonderful friend Evely Delfino Sales Posh, who's an amazing singer and songwriter as well. Evely has been part of Reclaiming, our spiritual network, or whatever we are, for many, many years. Director of the Spiral Dance Chorus for many years. Great co-conspirator and wonderful creative person and beautiful voice. So you have a summer solstice song for us.
I sure do. Thank you, Star, and happy birthday.
Thank you.
So happy summer solstice, everyone, to come. Except for Ro, it's winter solstice in Australia. But I really love this song, so let's see. The words are laughing, 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 laughing. Comes the summer over the field. Over the field comes the summer. Ha, ha, ha. Laughing over the field. So it's also around, and you come in after each line. So laughing, 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 laughing. Come in, laughing, 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 laughing. So we're all laughing. And then I also have the German part of it. So We'll see. Laughing, 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 comes the summer over the field. Over the field comes the summer, ha ha ha, laughing over the field. Laughing, 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 comes the summer over the field. Over the field comes the summer, ha ha ha, laughing over the field. Lachend, 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 kommt der Sommer über das Feld. Über das Feld kommt der Sommer, ha ha ha, du lachend über das Feld. Laughing, 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 comes the summer over the field. Over the field comes the summer, ha ha ha, laughing over the field. One more time. Laughing, 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 comes the summer over the field. Over the field comes the summer, ha ha ha, laughing over the field.
Welcome, summer.
Welcome summer and winter solstice in Australia.
Yeah. And even though we know it's a hard moment in the world to do so, welcome laughing, because we have to be able to laugh and we have to be able to experience joy so that we don't burn out and we continue to keep our courage and our resilience strong.
Yes.
Thank you, Everly.
Thank you.
Everly's going to sing more for us as we go on through the evening. So when we were planning this, I was thinking a lot about what I really wanted from a birthday, and I realized what I really wanted was some inspiration from hearing from some of the people both that I admire and have worked with, and some of whom have been through our Earth activist trainings, and some of whom are mentors to so many people, teaching ecological design and permaculture. For me, when I first encountered permaculture in the 80s, I had already been teaching goddess stuff and writing about it and writing about activism and spirituality for many years. And the permaculture seemed like the practical application of the idea that the earth is sacred. How do you put it into practice? And one person who has really put it into practice in some ways that are really vitally important is Ro Morrow, who's here tonight with us. She's taught permaculture in war zones and refugee camps and people all over the world who are really most in need of it. And so I'm really grateful, Ro, that you were able to come and inspire us a little bit with telling us something about your work.
Thank you so much. That was fabulous. Well, it's 11:30 on Thursday morning in Australia, and we're heading for the shortest day of the year. The skies are grey, the wind's cold, but it's fresh and clean. I am so pleased to be part of this celebration. I think we don't celebrate enough. And the poetry and the music has been wonderful. And Starhawk, I'm going to invite you to cruise into the next decade where I am with strength and optimism and creativity that you've shown so far. I'd like to mention that I'm on Gundungurra country, and it was never ceded. But people have told me I can use their language to welcome people. And I think to hear the language of the old tribes and people who occupied this country for 50,000 years and possibly more is really important. So the indigenous words in the local language are Watamai, Nalawa, Mitaga, which fits with what we've been saying. Come and join our circle. Because Indigenous people in Australia always met in circles. And even today, I've been to various events and times, and you form your circle. I think people would be shocked by the thought of sitting in straight lines. I think celebration is what you're doing, is bringing people in, and absolutely marvelous. And so in this event, I'd just like to talk about how people can celebrate other ways and means. So let's go back in permaculture. Permaculture, you have already suggested in the talk, is hard to define. Do you find it hard to define, Starhawk? Because most disciplines were defined when they were simple. Botany, study plants. Climatology, study climate. Soils, pedology. Meteorology, the daily weather. It's easy to define simple things. Permaculture, when we're talking about connection, couldn't have existed without ecology. And ecology was the study that put together the climate and the weather, the soil and the water, and the plant, and the animal, and the fungus, and the little insects, and the microorganisms, the biomes that exist on leaves and in soil. Permaculture pulled it all together and also added people into the mix, their organisations, their financial systems, their trading systems, their culture, their education. So how do you define that? And yet, is it an art or is it a science? I think it's a science. I think it's quite rigorous. The things we study are absolutely mostly social and tangible sciences that we can bring to this with our element of wonder and miraculousness as we learn more. So one of the great fruits of permaculture is a sense of wonder and even connection that we've been practicing. So I cannot give you a real definition of permaculture. It's really the connecting science between the physical sciences and the social sciences and spirituality that would enable us to live well on this earth. So that's unsatisfactory if you want to say, zoology is a study of animals. However, if you want to think of an interconnected world, going back to Mark's song, if you want to think of a world where the air we breathe is important in its quality and its quantity, and who has good air and who hasn't, then we have to come back to permaculture. So I remember having an engineer in the class once, and as we started to go through these connections, he said, "This is terrible." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Well, everything's changing all the time." I said, "Yes, the plant is growing and the temperature is changing and the soil organisms are changing the soil and the people are changing as they hear and respond. This is one of the things about permaculture. However, if I really had to define it, I would say it is the science of living in ways that restore the earth and societies. It is the science of living so you can restore earth and societies. If you have access to that knowledge, then perhaps I would challenge you to think of it as sacred. If you do know how to grow a plant and a fruit tree and an animal and modify the weather and feed the soil all together, and you can operate well in your community through the collectives and the cooperatives and the sharing, that's our third principle, then you've got something special. When I look at the few traditional peoples who have actually managed to preserve their environment, there's the Australian Aborigines, there are the tree people in India, there's about one tribe, I think, in America that didn't damage it. There's the people on Bali at Tanganang, the Aga Bali. A few societies I studied, see, who didn't damage, who took but never reduced the total quantity of the earth. They're very few. Now, then we have permaculture, which would enable us to do that. So with our knowledge of permaculture, we have the option to use it in such ways that we can restore and maintain a stable environment until the sun goes out or the moon flies away or one of those things happen to us, but which could easily happen. But I'm suggesting that there has been nothing for at least people of European and perhaps other civilizations that would enable them to study and implement in ways that made the earth truly resilient and sustainable. And because it's all integrated, it's hard to describe. I know I came from agricultural science and ecology and sociology. No, I didn't. I'm a social something anyway. I can't remember what I learned. But all these together, they combine permaculture. Now, before I go on to the second part of my talk, I would like to mention that permaculture came out of Tasmania, Nipaluna, in the indigenous word, and it referred to someone with a house and garden, someone with a farm, perhaps living in a town with quite a lot of land to make community gardens. Today, this is a minority population in the world. 70% of the world's people live in apartments. 80 million are now on the move through forced displacement, refugees, migrants. So the question I asked myself was, does permaculture have any part in the majority world? Or does it belong with those countries that are lucky enough to have a house, a garden, a 5-acre farm, community gardens? Is it only for the privileged? And recently I spoke to a group in Norway and they said permaculture is only for Westerners. I said, have you seen what's happening in India? Do you know what's happening in East Africa? Do you know what's happening in West Africa? Are you aware of the Middle East? Those who have a house and garden and practicing permaculture are now probably a minority, which sounds very strange. But my motivation and thinking was, if permaculture is only for the house, garden, privileged people with land, access to land, and stability, no war and destruction, then I'm not interested. I'm going to walk away. I don't want to know about permaculture unless. So therefore, I went first to countries that had suffered war and civil war. Vietnam, every powerhouse, every water station, every town on the edge of a river, every bridge was broken, but the people weren't. And then to Cambodia, where the people were more broken because they'd had a civil war. And then to East Timor, the Indonesian. And I found that in a way, the more people's lives are reduced, the more they value permaculture. They say, we can do something with this, we need this. So that's the story, was trying to take permaculture to places where people can't easily get it. They may not speak English. Think of all the people in refugee camps in East Africa. They often don't have even Luganda or Swazi as their main language. They're dealing with their tribal language. How can they get access to permaculture? What about those people in the world, such as the Rohingya, who are not literate? How do they get permaculture? So that was a big adventure. How can we get permaculture to people who really need to have access to permaculture. So that's my introduction. Permaculture is the ultimate integrated connecting science in my book, and I mean applied sciences. I'm not dealing with astronomy and pure mathematics, so it's all there. I'm dealing with the greater secrets that emerge as we do it. Now I'd like to have a quick look at the slides I sent and then not hold up your program. So Charles, if you can help me with that, I'd be very grateful. Okay, I prepared this Starhawk for your 70th birthday. And I have trespassed in claiming we have both worked with permaculture design skills, social and environmental, for neglected people and environments. And we did it because we knew we had this, I'm going to call it even sacred knowledge, that we could use, that people could adapt. If we work from principles and strategies, then anyone can use it, from the poles right through to the tropics and to deserts. So let's see how I see it, and then perhaps Starhawk would like to mention. So the world has 80 million refugees, right, where permaculture's lacking, people living on the margins. 1/3 of people globally live in substandard conditions. So if you've been to Dhaka or to Kabul or to some towns in Indonesia, right, you will find that people have appalling air. There are people living in slums and favelas. Dhaka in Bangladesh has 6,000 slums. Now, many permacultures don't have the design skills, but others do. So what I did was work in war-torn countries, refugee camps and occupied lands to show that adapting permaculture to these conditions is enormously effective. And Starhawk has hopped into the boat, and we're in the same river, I think, and we're sailing along this direction where permaculture can be lacking and people living on the margins. Here are just a few situations. Thank you, Charles, for the right. Here's the first thing. People in these conditions want to learn permaculture. In a refugee camp in Iraq, we took 40 people and 60 were queued up at the door who wanted to learn. This is repeated right across the world. People want to learn. Right. I think they're probably looking at my blue eyes and not thinking about what I'm saying, but that photo, it just shows the quality of attention and relevance that people bring to this, because they may not get another chance. It may be a one-off. Oh, next one, please, Charles. Thank you, Charles. This is an area where we really have to learn to work. So we've got the islands of the world, and I'm going to propose we form a second separate part of permaculture called permaculture for coasts and islands. In these places, the high tide already comes up to the kitchen. And yet we need a permaculture. And it was Fotony from Mediterranean Permaculture in Greece who has proposed an outline for permaculture for islands. And if at the end of this you want it, I can send you her outline and discussion paper. It is somewhere, I think, 2/3 of the world population lives within 100 meters of coasts and wet areas. So, okay, next one, please. Right. Okay, so what we have is we have zones in permaculture, and if we're going to follow this, then we need to know where we are. So we look at the harbours, and we can say places like Rotterdam have transformed their harbours into clean tourist areas. We can look at urban areas and know where we are and know how to apply permaculture relevantly to communities and types of landscapes and biomes, not just the individuals. Reese, am I speaking too fast? Thank you. Okay, next one, please. The other thing is, so we looked at, you could go to the coast and you can do a sector analysis, if you know where you are, and work with people on design. Another choice is this is a sector analysis. Do you remember that? Everything outside the boundaries, outside the electric fences, outside the gates. That's your sector analysis. And this is one for a refugee camp. So it's interesting in this one because we did one for Iraq and there was a great electric fence around it and a moat. And a man stood at the gate with an AK-47, so people couldn't get in and out unless they were supervised. But the refugees dug a tunnel under the fence and they got the boy shepherds who were shepherding goats to sell them a goat. And the reason I understood this, I was in the camp one day and said, are there any animals? And they said, no, we're not allowed animals. I said, well, I just heard a goat. And there was silence and a festival. I think Eid was coming up. And I knew they'd want something for sacrifice. So they did get their goat. But here's a sector analysis. In this, we should have added the importance of the child shepherds. Child shepherds and shepherds everywhere, another group who would be fabulous to learn permaculture. These are some of the newer and neglected areas. Next one, please, Charles. So if we're looking at a refugee camp, they're often laid out in what's called the Roman grid. So if you look at the top picture, it's something like that, a wide street because they might have to get tanks in. Refugees, and this is International Refugee Week, I think. It's certainly Australia Refugee Week. They're often seen as criminals, illegal. It is not illegal to seek asylum and save your life. And by helping to transform their lives, most of whom will spend 20 years or more in a camp, only 1 in 100 will get to a country of safe asylum. Some of the camps, such as those in Zimbabwe, have been transformed into whole productive townships. By the way, the Zimbabwe government says if you cross our border, this is what the ancient Romans did, you can live here, pay your taxes, get a legal card and be one of us. And within minutes, people are forming townships, sending kids to school and paying their taxes. However, if people are going to live in camps forever, we can take the top picture and turn it into the bottom one. And on the left of the bottom one, you'll see there's a waterway that usually runs with raw sewage. So we have to know really well how to clean water supplies everywhere, including these intensive, terrible situations. Okay, another one, please. The other thing is 70% or more people are going to live in high-rise buildings. So if you've got someone living in a high-rise building, it may be possible to do a window garden or a balcony garden or a roof garden. But let's help people do a sector analysis of choosing their apartment and what they can do, because the sector analysis is usually only done for a piece of land on the ground. You know, when you get up really high, the winds are strong. When you get up really high, sometimes the noise comes up from the street. When you're on the bottom floor, you may not get any sun. So learning to do these analyses through several layers of 3D at different points so that people can live their lives better. This is stretching the original permaculture syllabus into new areas. So I hope that some of you can get ideas. If you want to look at the most exciting work in the world for high-rise building, it's Singapore. They're connecting the buildings with walkways and gardens 50, 60 stories above the earth. So they've got gardens on the earth, then you go up these stories and they've got gardens and cycleways up top. So we're going dimensionally, we're going up and down, not just going flat along the ground. New ways of thinking for permaculture. Let's have a look at another one. We haven't got too many, so let's have a look at what they did in Hong Kong. Hong Kong took a multi-story apartment. You know what that bottom floor looks like. It's usually 6 lifts, or what do you call them? Ascensor, things that go up and down anyway. You've got different names.
Elevator.
Elevators, yes. So bare stone, steps, elevator. They have transformed the first 3 floors into living, greening area, an op shop, a play area, a restaurant, a cafe, a nursery, right? They've got fruit trees. They've got swap shops. So in parts of Hong Kong, they're learning to transform these apartments. Now, originally, permaculture said if you haven't got land, you can't do permaculture. We're learning now to stretch the potential. So I'm sure some of you buying. When I was in North Korea, in Pyongyang, every balcony, see the balcony just on the first floor, second floor, third floor? I think you call it second floor, third floor, fourth floor, but see, story perhaps, but see, they're planting things there. They also have solar panels. Every single house has solar panels. And in Shanghai, every single apartment in every building has to have access to sun. Not every room, but every apartment has to have good sun at least once a day. And that would be the west or the south. So it's stunning. We're starting to stretch permaculture. Next one, please, Charles. Thank you. We haven't got... this is how you can transform a refugee village. This looks brilliant if it's coloured, by the way. Old containers, old bottles, bits of wood, stone, concrete, hanging from the roof, growing on the roof, growing up the wall. The original permaculture for small spaces came out of refugee villages. It didn't come out of cities, and it came out of these situations where refugee people started doing vertical permaculture. They would go to their fences and hang some wire, and they'd get the 2-litre water bottles that were issued, and they would green a whole wall. This now is moving into the ordinary teaching that people are doing. I noticed recently in Britain, small-scale gardening, but it is a refugee initiative. So it just shows how these things can play back into the system with great effect. Next one, please, Charles. There we are. I think that's all. So these are interesting new areas and new possibilities shared and practiced by Starhawk and myself in various ways. And I want to thank you, Starhawk, for all you've done and contributed. Thank you, Charles, for doing it. And I'll give you back your program. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ro. Thank you so much for that. That was
I've
very
got a
inspiring.
two-verse song. Bon anniversaire, nous votons tous sincères, et sur les pour toi, les bon anniversaire. Just happy birthday in French. Okay, everyone enjoy this wonderful celebration, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, we have someone else who's very special who has also been bringing permaculture into some of the places where people don't ordinarily get to find it. And that is Brandi Mack. Brandi and I met because we were working in a program in San Francisco in Hunters Point, which is one of the areas that after they moved the Black community out of the Western Addition, where there was a very thriving Black community, they redeveloped it out of existence, and a lot of them moved to Hunters Point during World War II. A lot of people moved up from the South into Bayview and Hunters Point to work in the shipyard. And then in the late 60s, the shipyard closed down, and a lot of people lost their jobs, and the area became more depressed. So now it's a place where there's a lot of public housing, there's a lot of food deserts, there's also a lot of creativity and resourcefulness. And I was working in some of the gardens that an organization called Hunters Point Family had, where the kids were getting paid to work in the garden. And then Brandi came, and the level of excitement, inspiration, everything among the kids just like skyrocketed. She's quite brilliant at empowering, especially empowering women and girls. So, Brandi, tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
Well, just Ashe. I just want to first give thanks to you, 75 years around the sun, and just want to give thanks for our ancestors right now, and the shoulders that we're standing on, to be here, and then thinking about the yet to be born and being born, thus why we're doing all this goodness. And thank you. Just so grateful to say happy solar return, and giving thanks for Rose Talk, because it's like the continuum, as Starhawk does, if anybody knows her, um, is everything is a design. And I remember, as you said, we meeting in San Francisco on the side of a hill in soil that was soiled, contaminated, and we are building swales on the contour, building up, remediating soil, and little Black girls living in housing authority. And when I first met you, I did not know the word permaculture. I come from folks who were farmers and land tenders, and a papa and a grandma who had an orchard. And when I first met you, you had been working in Hunters Point from some moons before, and you came walking up to this garden, and here I was with these young girls, and I'm like, who is this white woman? Because you didn't see a lot of white women walking in Hunters Point. And the girl said, that's cool. She's Star. She probably got some sweets or something, and we cool, and we're gonna do some things. And I thought, well, okay, cool. If y'all know her, then we're good. And the rest is her story. As I was working in the strawberries and talking with the girls, I remember you saying, you might like permaculture. I'm doing this immersion and this course, and maybe you and a couple of girls might want to come up and take this permaculture certification. Perma who? Had not heard of the word before. I had tended the soil with my pawpaw, and quite frankly, it was not a popular thing. It was considered to be the thing the poor folks did. And so here I go and do this permaculture. And for lack of telling the longer story, because we can have a longer one, I am grateful for this tool, this reactivation of my relation with soil, with techniques that I can recall even my papa sharing with me, but it wasn't popular. So we didn't go around doing it. In fact, we didn't want folks to know that we were canning and preserving and saving seeds. That was for poor folks. So I'm just grateful for the seeding that started in San Francisco on the hillside with the girls, working with them, where we had taken this soiled soil and created this food forest, along with an after school program where the girls ate and we cooked the food together, from this soil. And we drove up to the ranch with you and played in the mud and built cob together. And some of these girls couldn't get their shoes dirty without getting in trouble. And so we would have extra clothes and things for them to do the work in and come back. And so, wow. And this idea of permaculture created a new vibe for them to remember tools that have been in the ancestral realm forever. So as I say, the AI, the ancestral intelligence, is what was reactivated with these set of tools of permaculture. And so just so grateful, to be able to have had the opportunity to bring the girls who are, now these grown women, because this is like some moons ago. So I have a little picture, some things, because I was like, oh yeah, I need to get a little feng shui here. I don't want to keep going. We have a time frame here. So it's not all fancy and stuff. It's a little funky shui, but I'm gonna share my screen here and just kind of walk through and just want to give thanks for this this time of solstice for us, this long time day, right? We say solstice, this long time. And when I think about that, there's some things that I gleaned from you, and I want to say thank you when we think about the long day. And one of the things is observation. Notice what you're noticing. And I can also hear my mother saying, Brandi, the world wasn't built in a day. Girl, slow down. And I want to give thanks for the gleaning of that work and working with you there in this time. And here I go. Let me try. I'm not good at like doing the screen and the whole thing here. Okay, there we go. But then let me put it in slideshow. You know, we on the hillside here, the girls from the work we did in permaculture, we, took 50 families down to the black town of Allensworth and built a garden in this desert town where Chavez and Allensworth had a town. They were dairy and grain farmers. And this was our summer programming. We packed up the 15 passenger and camped out and set up a kitchen. And the girls said, we're going to do like we do up at Starhawk. So we're going to set up a kitchen. And we did that. And that was in 2015. And we've thus gone back and continued to be docents of Allensworth State Park with permaculture. But what I gleaned from you, so I wrote it down. It was like observe, but I put the asparagus on here, y'all, because asparagus take a minute for it to come. So that's always the reminder of, girl, slow down and trust nature, right? That's some other pieces. The work that I did with you has supported so much of the other work I do in living systems and working to do this work of mimicking the natural world and designing retreat space and leadership for women and girls all over. So I'm just grateful and knowing that it's drip by drip. It just takes a moment. And now we think about all of this work and all the years of cultivating soil and starting on the hillside of San Francisco. And really, I'm going to say in my papa's backyard and in the farm. To today, being able to found the Butterfly Arts and Ecology Sanctuary, where we are stewarding 32 acres of land to better and deeper develop the relationship with women and girls in the soil. And so we are excited to connect the urban and rural deeper as our watersheds are connected in this work and continue to learn from Mama using our traditional ecological knowledge and permaculture and all the soup, put everything, what we say, in the cauldron and make up the thing that's going to create a world that's going to work for everybody. And that is something that I'm grateful to be able to be a part of with everybody on this call. You are always in cahoots of the design. And I can recall, and I'll close with this, a Green Fest, I think, of some event, and I met a person who's a sister now of Mira Manicum, and we started a thing called Brown Girl Surf. But I remember Star tirelessly stepping up in space for the sisterhood, and folks wanted you to go on, and you were like, you guys go, and I'm gonna go real quick, but you guys go and talk about what y'all doing, and then I'll come on and talk about the book and stuff. And it was like, because this is the only way we got to keep on succession. So I just want to give thanks for the succession, for the setup of the design of understand that the nature is so abundant and we can never outgive it or do it or have, And so I just say ashe to you. I say happy solar return to all of us as our sun continues to shine every day, the same sun for all of us. And I, have the song I'm working on. I ain't singing it tonight, but it really just goes like, we're many, but really we're one, powered by nature, one sun, one moon, one water, one air. Ashe.
Ashe. Thank you so much, Brandi. When we were working in Hunters Point, I just remember coming back from having done solidarity work in the West Bank and Gaza, where kids were super, super traumatized. And this was already 20, 25 years ago. You can't even conceive of how traumatized they must be now. But then coming back to Hunter's Point and looking at some of those kids, and they'd be walking, their heads would be down, their eyes would be down. They were thinking like some of these kids are more traumatized than the kids in Gaza. And, you know, uh, just watching some of those girls really come alive as you started bringing in some of those programs. And uh, I also, here we are in San Francisco, probably one of the richest places on earth and in the US, and there were kids there who had never been to the ocean, who had never seen a redwood tree or never been to a redwood forest. So taking them out surfing was like opening up worlds and worlds.
While harvesting seaweed, might I add, because we always stack function.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, my surfing career will have to be in another life, right? But I want to share one more person with you who's also been a great inspiration and who's done some of the most wild and creative organizing I've seen anywhere, and that is Mark Lakeman, who started a group called City Repair in Portland. Mark came and took our course, I think it was in 2002. I would like to say I taught him everything he knows, but the truth is he was doing all this stuff before he took our course and afterwards, and has just created some really out-of-the-box transformative projects. So, Mark, tell us a little bit about what you've been doing. Stimulate our imaginations.
That's a tall challenge with this group. I'm just really feeling super stimulated by everything people have been saying. Hello, Brandi. Hello, Brandi. Hello, Charles.
Hello, Mark.
So many people there on the call. God, I mean, hello to everybody I know and everybody I don't know yet. Dear people, I really need to say that I'm sitting here in the continuity, the living continuity of the ancestral cultures, perpetual cultures of so many wonderful people. Cowlitz, Kathlemat, Multnomah, Wasco, Clackamas, Chinook, so many people. And don't take it for granted. And really, some of the most wonderful kind of heart, not just opening, but kind of exploding outcomes of our activism has been really spectacular allyship, working with several tribal cultures right now. Just cry. People calling up and like so excited. We got some of our land back, and we know we got to deal with all this like fussy permit stuff, but we want to reestablish our ancestral urban patterns and our social architecture. And I was just like, are you seriously asking me to help? And they're like, yeah, we think you're cool. I was like, oh my God, am I dead? Anyway, I got a lot of wonderful things to report about, there's just so many overarching lessons, deep, deep. I'm just so excited to be alive and learning all the time and looking to the next horizon and working with all these people, working and playing with all these people who can see the horizon, and they're so excited because they're woke enough to know that there's all these other horizons that we hope to live long enough to see. There's these gleaming horizons we can see glowing beyond the horizon we can see right now. And so many people who are excited. One thing I really love about what I just know about the culture on this call is people can face stuff that's happening that breaks our hearts, and yet we don't mire ourselves. We don't dwell on it in a way which is just self-corrosive, but instead it fuels our empathy, our imagination, like enervates, like activates our feeling of connection to each other so that we reach out and we do things. Um, anyway, about long-term commitment, I mean, I just want to just, if anybody has any doubt that they can help to change the world, I mean, as permaculture just keeps like inviting us to do, just get going, just start, even start in the wrong direction. Do it while you're standing on your head. Just get going, because all these dreams that you have assuredly get to come true. And when I'm talking about, like, is it possible to transform the bureaucracy so that they become helpful? I can attest to you, yes. Is it possible for a local bureaucracy to love the new things that they're undertaking as creative problem solvers? Like, where they are like, hey, wait, the community is us and we are the community. And then they start helping all these other municipalities. I can attest that you can dream that, and then you can inhabit that with them. And of course, the key to, I mean, just thinking about what Ro was saying earlier, like, just become permaculture. Like, I know it's defined as, it's hard to define, and many people call it a design science, a design system. To me, it's an urge. It's an urge toward relationality. It's an urge toward mutual benefit. To me, the ethics are, expressed and resolved in design because of this urge. It's a way that you feel. You feel wonderful. You feel empowered. You feel clearer. You feel connected. All these wonderful things. But to me, permaculture is, to me, what's so exciting about permaculture is the culture. And the culture is excited about things like gray water or urban agriculture or what have you. Excited to learn, to understand the trees and the systems around us, to know the names of the trees and how they relate, whether they're invasive or native. Just everybody becomes excited, and it's this urge to connect. It's this urge to be part of a greater whole. People talk about networks, mutual benefit, guilds. I have to understand permaculture, and for me as a North American, um, my way of living within the permaculture is in the context of all kinds of simultaneous, like, repair projects. I can't think about permaculture without looking at it through the lens, or the possibilities through the lens of living in colonization. I think we're only getting started. Even this group may be only getting started in understanding how systematized patriarchy is, how utterly destructive it is to everyone at all scales of privilege. How systematized it is, how it is this, it's the antithesis of permaculture. It's literally designed to omit. This is why it's so hard to define. I remember my father, who's this architect planner, and he's like revolutionary, but he's like, I can't describe. Like, here we are applying permaculture or eliciting permaculture, all throughout the urban environment, especially in Portland, Oregon. And my dad's like, all my friends are asking, what in the hell are you doing? He's like, I can't describe it. And this is because we're used to describing things in terms of a colonized mindset. What is the thing that you're doing? Well, permaculture is this integrative impulse. It brings all of these separated, stratified, compartmentalized, layered things that have been moved apart, like the way that in cities in colonialism, centralized authorities say, no, you will live over here where you don't have the ability to create livelihood because we're extremely limiting commercial activity, and we've eliminated the public square from even existing where you live. You just live in a development because you're the working class stock that we move over to the work zone where you don't get to talk and build culture, because that's all over with. You know, the village is over with. We attacked that and destroyed it. And every time it tries to rear its head, we'll cut it off again, because the new paradigm is conscripting you all into an involuntary servitude that you don't even understand and nobody can teach you about. Permaculture is integrative. It's like bringing all, like when we talk about stacking functions, it's not just stacking, it's bringing it all together into a greater whole. That's the impetus or the impulse I'm talking about. Like I believe that we are still villagers. Like hundreds of thousands of years, we've been living with people in which we're in context where we have an idea. Aha, let's get the kids out of bed. Let's do something today that grows our children and teaches them how to have a culture and grow food and build the fabric of our intelligence and of our joy, which is a village. Many different words for it, and now we find ourselves separated from our children at the start of the day while we go off to these working institutions to make representational currency to pay for the reality, where we're outsourcing all the functions to other people that we used to provide ourselves as people who were integrating everything all the time. Like we were the permaculture. So that's what I love about permaculture. For one thing, I think it's a form of reclaiming. It's a form of restoration. We're like, oh, habitat restoration. Ah, we're habitat too. Maybe we should restore ourselves internally. Restore our senses. Anyway, this makes me think about my friend Judy Bluehorse up here. She's a teacher and she's a native leader in the area. And she taught me about Tamanwit, the concept of this overarching, pervasive conception of the integration of all things. It's like breaking the tree of life down into this like operative cultural like theme of integration and perpetual respect and memory, just so much. But thinking about Tamanwit, oh, I'm just really happy to report that after a period of conflict and almost self-destruction, because we're dutiful progressives up here and first to attack ourselves, tear us down. A lot of us have grown through that and come out stronger. And this famous village building convergence barn raising thing that we do all across the city for 10 days, it's now starting in May and going till September. Like that's how big it is. There's so many things happening. Like last year, we were easily doing 3 times more than we'd ever done before. So our group has been restored, and I don't think the people are any better than they were before. It's just that we've kind of been inoculated by our own sort of patterns of self-destruction in a way. We've learned a lot. We're giving each other more space and grace. We're happy to see each other's imperfection and just work with people where they are. We need each other. We know it better than we ever have before. I think it's helped to see how distorted and debased the face of the patriarchy can be. So we've not lost hope. In fact, we've got all this more momentum than ever, and the bureaucracy freaking is helping us. They're like, can we give you all this money to do the stuff you used to have to fight with us about? All this stuff you used to have to do that was illegal? We get it now. And I think Trump has helped with that. They're like, we're definitely not going that direction anymore. We're heading toward you guys. We are the community, So I just want to say about Star, like freaking happy birthday. But I think you've been 75 since you were like a little baby. I mean, just timeless. Like when I read The Fifth Sacred Thing, and it was inspiring me in so many ways. It just felt like there was this shedding of light, an ancient light on a truth. It was so inspiring. And when I went from city repair to the earth activist training, it was an utterly I mean, you're saying I know all this stuff. No, Star. You get credit for everything I know, because whatever I knew before was completely revolutionized by my experience with you. I remember sitting back and watching you and Penny. This was at the Institute of Noetic Sciences. And I said, and just listening to you, the way that you were so present and so real and so connected to us. You were talking to us like a sister or a mother. And I remember just saying to myself, so this is a teacher after all this time. These are teachers. And because you're just like smiling all the time and using your hands in a way that I'd never even seen before, which is just constantly telling us that we already know this and we can do all of this and this is easy and it's who we are. And I was just like, and this is not just teachers. This is, now I see what beautiful is. This is what is beautiful. And this is a big deal for me. I'm like this myopic, self-absorbed American male here, you know, sitting here experiencing this gift. Okay, so part of my being myopic is and self-interested is when I saw Starhawk, I just ran right up to you and I just hugged you so much. And like you just don't do that to Starhawk. That's quite presumptuous. But I just couldn't even stop myself. Just gave her such a huge hug, like I'd always known her. And to get me away from her, she's like, okay, I need you to do something special. So you have to go off in the forest by yourself and get this special piece of wood that's going to be covered with old man's beard. And I need you to bring it back to me. And actually, it was a very special thing because she was sending me off to find the wand of the ritual. So I found like this really lovely branch that she would end up using to blow my mind along with everyone else in the room. And at some point, I was also like, oh, so this is what a witch is. So this is what a ritual really is. This is what magic really is. And she did this thing. I mean, we were in a group and all these women like suddenly were standing up and moving together and calling the directions. And it was like the Fantastic Four. I mean, they were so powerful and so deliberate and so like coordinated, perfectly set the scene. And at some point after all this preparation, darkness, candles, Starhawk takes this wand branch, puts it into the cauldron, and she just starts to stir and stir. And I could see it going from this placid horizontal plane to the water just standing up on the sides, and she's swirling it. And she's yelling through time to the ancestors and to the future. And she's calling all of the threads of, like, I mean, there were so many things swirling in that room. All the threads of people's relationships and people they love trailing behind us as we came into this space. So she was calling all that we're a part of into that room. And then she thrusts the branch toward the ceiling, and there's like this crack of lightning from this voice that comes out of her, and then she just spins it. And all of us get hit in the face simultaneously by the water. And this water is the water of the world. It's water that's been brought from all over the world in small and large parts into this, like, you know, this great collective entity of stories in the water. And she just goes, hit me. And I was different. I was different. Everything was enriched, and I had more energy. I've had more energy than I've ever had, more empathy, more patience, more self-love, more ability to listen. And you know, the earth activist training, I just want to give a testimony about it. Like, yeah, permaculture is wonderful, and some people take it in order to garden, and some people teach it and embody it in order to bring you back to your humanity and your capacity as an endlessly creative, you know, incarnation, as a child of the divine. Like some people, that's the earth activist training. They're kind of tricking you into coming into this place where you're sort of unleashed into the world in a new way. That's what happened for me, I think. I became better than ever at what I do. I've been through so many things, and if I hadn't gone through that experience, I might have given up a long time ago. And like Star, I'm just not going to give up. So I just want to say, I hope you're all planning on going forth, not giving up, living to, being your, let's see, what did somebody say to me yesterday? With the rest of your life, live your best life, your best life. Anyway, something like that. And that's my plan. These challenges ultimately will prove nothing compared to our individual and collective power as we come back into a greater whole. And with that, I'll just say the word Tamanwit, because that is the word of this region about everyone and everything being part of a greater whole that we live to nurture and nourish.
Thank you so much, Mark. You know, I think Portland was an inspiration to all of us when we saw the resistance to ICE and to all of the patriarchy and the fascism and the racism that was coming down, and how strongly and how creatively people stood up to it. And I always felt like that didn't come out of nowhere. It came out of the community building work that you and others have been doing there for years and decades. And it makes a difference. It really does. But you're talking about magic. I'm not sure I remember those things exactly the way you do, but it's wonderful to hear you. But I invite us all to do a little magic now. If you've got paper and art supplies, to take them. You know, when I think about how do we do a summer solstice online, usually what we do is we would burn something. It's a fire festival. Well, it's often hard in California to burn something because the fire danger is so high. And it's definitely hard to burn something online. But then Charles came up with the idea that we could make, you know, not a wicker man, or if we want to be more woke about it, a wicker gender neutral person. But we could make a figure out of paper and just take a piece of paper. And if you've got paper and you've been inspired, you can begin drawing on it, writing on it as I lead you through a little meditation, and then crumbling it up into a figure that you can then set alight and burn, or you could compost, or you could keep as a sculpture. For me, the idea of the burning was not that it's not like burning an effigy or trying to get rid of something, but the solstice burn was really about sending, you know, a messenger into the dark as we reach the peak of the sun. It's like we send our hopes and our dreams out and have someone take them into the other world where dreams are born so that they can begin to manifest. So just take a breath and maybe think a little bit about all that you've heard, all the inspiring work. And you know, this evening was very time limited, and so I couldn't invite everybody I know who's doing inspiring work to speak to us, but there are so many people who are. And that's really what gives me hope. That as hard as it is right now, and as much greed and cruelty as there is in the world, there's also this tremendous force for regeneration that's arising. You know, in the permaculture world, we talk about the 3 ethics: care for the earth, care for the people, third one, which comes out differently sometimes, I like care for the future, which implies that we just take our fair share. We reduce our consumption, we return with the abundance back into the system. And I often think about how different the world would be if those three ethics were the core of our society, our politics, our economics. So take a breath and let yourself just imagine that world. A world where the prime concern of everyone is, how do we care for each other? How do we care for the children? How do we care for the earth and the land? And maybe take a breath and look around where you are now and start to imagine how it might be different in that world. If you think about what you've done today, maybe the work you've done or the food you've eaten, maybe some of the interactions that you've had. What would change in a world that really cherished those core ethics? What work would you be doing in that world? Think about maybe, have you spent time today or in the last few days listening to the news, worrying about the world situation, wondering what's going on in the world, feeling frustrated, angry, afraid? Just take a breath and imagine what it would be like to live in a world where you had all that time back, all that mental space back, to create, to tend, to nurture, to spend time with people you love and care about, to create beauty. And maybe just draw or write some of those things onto your wicker bean. And as you take a breath, just let yourself begin to feel what your personal task is, your gift, your purpose toward creating this world that we want to see. What's your next step? And know that this time of solstice, you can ask for help. from the ancestors, from the spirits, from the great forces of creativity and compassion in the universe. And taking a breath, maybe just imagine your little being there as your messenger. And if you don't physically have the paper or something to burn it with, that's okay. You can create a being in your imagination. And imagine that you are sending it into this time of the gathering dark. The sun has reached its peak. It will begin to decline. We may not notice for a while, but the days will grow shorter and shorter. And we move from the time of fruiting into the dream time, where new things are born. So breathe your wishes into your figure. Send it as a messenger to ask for the help and the resources that you need to play your part in creating this world that will care for the earth and the people and the generations to come. As you set it alight, I think Everly has another song for us.
Open your eyes. The wheel is turning. We will rise in a new day. Sparks of flames ever burning. Beacon of hope to light the way. Open your arms, the wheel is turning. We will rise in a new day. Sparks of flames ever burning, beacon of peace to light the way. Open your heart, the wheel is turning. We will rise in a new day. Sparks of flames ever burning, beacon of love to light the way. Open your mind, the wheel is turning. We will rise in a new day. Sparks of flames ever burning, beacon of change to light the way. Open your sight, the wheel is turning. We will rise sparks of flames, ever burning, beacon of strength to light the way. Open your hands, the wheel is turning. We will rise in a new day. Sparks of flames, ever burning, beacon of grace to light the way. Open your soul, the wheel is turning. We will rise in a new day. Sparks of flames, ever burning, beacon of home to light the way.
Star, you're on mute.
Blessed be.
Blessed be.
May your dreams and hopes go into the other world and become the seeds of what will be born and what will come to fruition. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to
Emily.
introduce that quatrain was started with a quatrain by Starhawk, and then I built kind of like, we call it a zipper song.
Yeah.
A zipper song. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we have reached pretty much the end of our time. We gone a bit over time, but I decided it was my birthday and I wasn't going to worry about it. So, but I want to just say thank you to all of you for joining this. This evening will help support our diversity scholarship programs in Earth Activist Training and all of our programs. And I think, hopefully you have gotten a sense of how important it is to be able to bring some of these tools to people who are on the front lines of so many struggles today, whether that's here in the US or around the world. We do our best to try to support people who need this information and need these skills. And I want to say thank you to all of our presenters, to Ro and to Brandi and to Mark. Thank you to Emily and to my brother Mark. Thank you to Charles for all that you do and to our whole Earth Activist Training team. Thank you to Air and Fire and Water and Earth. Thank you to Spirit. Thank you to our wonderful interpreters who've done such a beautiful job of making this accessible. And of course to you, Emily. And I believe you got another song for us.
Yes, since it's your birthday, I usually like to sing this song as a birthday song. And I think we have lyrics that will be put in the chat. But everybody, please sing along. You know this song. So here we go. I've adapted it a little bit, so just be aware. Yesterday a child came out to wander, caught a dragonfly inside a jar. Everybody needs to turn their mic off though. Fearful when the sky was full of thunder. Please turn your mic off though. And fearful at the falling of a star. Thank you very much. Here we go. with gusto, and the seasons, they go round and round. The painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on a carousel of time. We can't return, we can't return, we can only look behind from where we came and go round and round and round in the circle game. So these are the seasons. Then the child moved 10 times round the seasons, skated over 10 clear frozen streams. Words like, when you're older, Starhawk, must appease her, and promises of someday make her dreams. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on a carousel of time. We can't return, we can't return, we can only look behind from where we came and go round and round and round in the circle game. 16 springs and 16 summers gone now. Cartwheels, cartwheels turn to car wheels through the town. And they tell her, take your time, Starhawk, it won't be long now till you drag your feet to slow the circles down. Everybody, and the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on a carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came and go round and round and round in the circle game. So the years spin by, and now the girl is 20 or 50 or 75, though her dreams may have lost their grandeur coming true. But star, there'll be new dreams, better dreams, plenty of new dreams before the last revolving year is through. And the seasons, they go round and round, the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on a carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came and go round and round and round in the circle game. And go round and round and round and round and round and round and round in the birthday game. Happy birthday, beloved Starhawk, happy birthday, happy golden birthday, happy birthday to you. Much love, much
Oh,
love.
thank you so much, Emily. And thank you, everybody. You can find more of our classes and things at earthactivisttraining.org. And we've got classes. We've got an in-person class coming up at our Eco Village up in British Columbia on Vancouver Island. That's starting at the beginning of July if you want to come take a class in person. We've got an online one that'll be starting in September if you want to do it online, and hopefully an in-person one next spring in California. Got another in-person one in France in August. and lots of other ways to learn permaculture, magic, ritual, social permaculture, all of that. And we'd love to see some of you in those classes. We're really grateful for your support for this. It helps us make them available to people who don't have the financial resources that we'd all like to have and deserve to have. You can also, I'm going to have a summer solstice meditation on my podcast later this week, and you can find that and my writings at substack.starhawk.com. And anything else we need to share or announce, Charles?
Can I make an announcement real quick?
Yeah, sure.
So if any of you are local, or even if you're not local and you want to join the Spiral Dance Chorus, we're celebrating the 48th anniversary of the Spiral Dance in October 24th. And we're hoping to get the Sweets Ballroom in Oakland. I think we're about 90% there.
Okay.
Let me know. Let Starhawk know, and I'll be in touch with you. Yay!
Yeah.
Happy summer solstice, everybody.
Yeah.
Happy summer solstice.
Happy summer solstice and happy birthday.
Hey, Renee. Hi, Havila.
Happy birthday, thanks.
Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Happy
everybody.
birthday.
Happy
Thank you
birthday,
so much.
Star.
Happy birthday.
Blessings and joy.
Happy
to all of you.
birthday,
Happy
birthday.
birthday.
Happy birthday, Starhawk.
Solstice.
Thank you all, you inspiring people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday, Starhawk.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Starhawk. I hope you're enjoying your new name.
Wishing you much health and blessings in the future and now.
Happy birthday, Starhawk.
Thank you.
And happy solstice. Good night, everybody.
Good
Night.
night.
Happy birthday
Night.
Happy
from
birthday.
Canada.